Right, I'm just making a video. Basically, let me just give people. Look, it's raining, and what I've decided to do is, for the first time, really, is see if I can reword and tell the content of part of the content of the last video a little bit better and see how it comes out. So basically, I've made it, watched it back a couple of times. There was a bit in the video where I say something and it comes across like I'm being quite horrible or spiteful, and I wasn't, and it come across wrong. I like to fucking just make a video so I'm still waffling, but I've seen what I want to talk about, so I'm going to see if I can say it any better and see how it comes out, really. So it's sort of rehearsed while I'm still waffling at the fucking same time. Let me just give people a look at today. So, you know, this is the rainforest. We haven't had a lot of rain. We haven't had a lot of rain this year. This May and April it's been quite dry and relatively warm this year. Fucking need this. But let me see if I can do it. So yeah, I want to see if I can reword the video a little bit better to how it was said in the other video, and shorten the video because it was quite long. I can't be bothered getting fucking, well, as far as I'm aware, on this camera, on this phone, sorry, and camera and the video editor, you can only just shorten a bit. I didn't shorten the last video, by the way. That I pressed the button by accident and fucking cut the fucking recording off. Yeah, you can only shorten it one way or the other, and you can't just take a little bit out. So, and I don't really like doing that on videos. I'd rather just turn it on and just talk. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can word this a little bit better and see how it comes out. Treated myself to a bit of fucking skunk. I've barely smoked any fucking weed for fucking a long time, really. A good few months now. Well, since I've been here, I've smoked fuck all weed. I've been smoking hash. I'm not a fan of a lot of the weed that's coming out. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But this is a New York City Diesel, and this is a banging weed. This is a man's weed. This is not fucking cheesy puffs or fucking orange cream circle or some shit like that. the man's weed. But yeah, so I just want to what I spoke about in the video was the conspiracy network. So I'm just going to give people a little bit of background on where you obtain your knowledge, how the media works, and what I was interested in and stuff. So yeah, basically I never read a book at school. I was very in English and things like that. Basically I would just listen to what everyone else spoke about in the class and pick up the book without reading the book. Just remember everything that everyone said and what you spoke about in the lessons, and you normally watch a film about the book as well, so you can more or less, you don't even have to read the fucking book at all. Yeah, so I'd never read a book really at school, at school age. When I was about 18, 19, I read Lenny McLean, The Governor. That was the first book I read. Then I read all the gangster books. A geezer called Shane was a fucking thief. And I'd pay him, he'd nick me some fucking, he'd nick me the fucking gangster books, and I'd bung him some draw, a bit of hash or some fucking money for fucking a couple of quid for fucking the books. And so I read all the gangster books, I read them all. And my stepdad had some of them books as well, so I think he had the, I think I got The Governor. I borrowed it off them. So yeah, I read The Governor. I read all the gangster books. I basically read every gangster book there was. Roy Shaw, all of them, every one that was available at that time. Dave Courtney's, a couple of Dave Courtney books. Geezer from Liverpool, I can't remember his name. I read a book about some bouncer in Coventry. Hard man books, basically. Gangster books. Football Hooligans, Cass Pennant, Charles Bronson. I read all those books, and I just basically, it's just a way, reading was a way of occupying more time in your cell, really, other than just listening to music or watching fucking films. I read the newspapers. So when I left school, basically you go, well, not left school, but started work, you go to the cafe, everyone's reading the newspapers. You're in the van, everyone's reading the newspapers. So the newspapers are around, so you pick them up. Normally when you was that age, you just wanted to look at the tits in the Sport and fucking, which is basically a fucking porno mag, where they just cover the fucking vagina, bum and bumhole and fucking nipples. It's basically, it's just a porno mag, basically a daily porno mag in newspaper form. But yeah, anyway, I don't want to talk about the fucking daily fucking Sport. Anyway, I was just saying, like, you start fucking looking at the fucking papers and shit and fucking reading the newspaper every day, just because everyone else is reading the fucking newspaper every day, and that's what everyone talks about. So, you know, you need to fit into all of that, and that's what happens. So you read the newspapers, and and you're already sort of looking at them all the time because people are telling you about stories. So then you look at it, but I didn't really properly start reading them till I started work. Then yeah, then it sort of stemmed from there. I read a few books about people in prison. A book called The Damage Done, about a geezer who'd been caught smuggling. Another one in Indonesia. He was in Thailand at a place called the Bangkwang. They're good books. You know what I mean, but they're not big. I read them in a day. Like Damage Done is a day's read. It was a day's read, really, a good day. And yeah, then I started going into war history because I was interested. Like, I think men are more interested in like documentaries, history, science, and all of these things. So I was watching I'd watch all the documentaries on TV and wildlife programs and things like that. So basically, they were my interests in media. And yeah, basically, I grew up around Exodus, who's I've explained, a rave organisation in Luton. So basically, that was where I first heard about Freemasons. So that they were like habitual preachers about Freemasons and how you're governed by a system and oppressed, and that the rulers are deliberately basically social engineer and to keep people in states of poverty and shit like that, but and control the population. But I didn't really fucking listen to it at the time. I would, you know what I mean? I took the piss out of a lot of it because a lot of the kids didn't know what they were saying. They're kids, basically. They're kids from fucking 14 to 18, 19, really. A large part of them was. Certainly the ones that I was around anyway. Who made up the numbers and were the people that you saw at the Exodus, Hasmana, and things like that. But yeah, so I'd heard about it all. I didn't really give a fuck about it all. It was, you know what I mean? Oh, shut up, whatever, bollocks. I can't be bothered listening to it. At that, I just wanted to dance, get high, get drunk, and have a laugh. You know what I mean? I weren't really interested in all that bollocks. You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't really fucking pay too much attention to the bullshit out of a lot of the kids' mouth, because they didn't know what they were talking about, and I'd ask them questions and like try to get some answers, and they were just repeating without any real thought process to the words out of their mouths. They were just repeating what they'd been told by the adults, basically, who were the organisers. And so I'd heard about Freemasons and stuff, and I'd asked my mum about Freemasons, and she said, "Oh, Dad, who ran the boater, had been asked if he wanted to do the bar there or some shit like that." Now, I don't know whether, that could have just been a story. My mum might have overheard a conversation or something, like how that came about, but anyway. It would make sense that, landlords of pubs, are members of that, because, years ago everything was done in the pub. So how you control the population is by knowing what goes on and influencing what goes on in every aspect of everyone's life, including criminality, what they would call criminality, or the black market, where basically the poor are able to buy things cheaper than what you can in the shops, basically the black market. So, and that was all done through the pub. So yeah, so I'd asked about Freemasonry, you know what I mean? It just weren't something really that I was that fucking interested in. I was interested in, you know what I mean, I couldn't be bothered with all their bollocks, because it literally was sending little kids insane and walking around preaching while doing nothing, not anything really what they were preaching to other people about while doing it all, because they're just little kids on drugs basically. But yeah, so that was where I first sort of heard about Freemasons and stuff. And I'm reading books. It went in from gangsters, prison, to I read a book, Killing Pablo, which was and Black Hawk Down. They were quite hard. They were bigger books than, you know, what I was used to. So I'm reading more and more and more and going deeper into like bigger books about real life. I was interested in real life, not in fiction. So what you believed was real life. So documentaries, history, science programs, wildlife programs, and about the world and things like that. So you know, as far as I was concerned, I was learning about real life, the earth, the world, and things like that. So yeah, then it went into war. I was very interested in the war, so military and things like that. And was saying that yeah. So basically, after 9/11, basically I became like a news addict, a complete news addict. So I started reading the big papers. I'd read 2, 3 or 4 a day. I started reading the Mail, the Independent I looked at as well. The Sun I read. The Mirror, I was more, well, at the time, what you would have called conservative, political views and attitudes, sort of. Not that I was, and I got after 9/11, I started reading the news. I was interested in what was going on. I didn't think it was I believed it was a terrorist attack. I was pro-war, like I've explained, and that yeah. So I was interested in it. It got me interested in politics, who was in control. So I weren't really into sport. I was into boxing. Boxing was the only sport I cared about, really. And you didn't get a lot of a quick flick through the back of the newspaper to see if there was any boxing news, and you normally get one thing unless there's a big title fight involving a British fighter, household name. You'd get a load of stuff to read. But ultimately every day most people go to the sport, read about the football and that. Well, I was interested in the news and the politics and trying to work out how the world worked to a degree, because I was still young in age. So you're a baby still. So at 18, 19, when I was 20, 21, when 9/11 happened, or 20, I can't even remember the fucking, yeah, was it 2001? See, a date like that, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, I thought it was a terrorist attack. I believed the newspapers. I was reading the newspapers, and I think, yeah, and then, yeah, and like I said, the bloke at J&B's, the machine driver, had come up to me and was saying about, oh, it might not be fucking what they're saying it might be. But he was saying it was Mossad. It was Mossad, the Israeli fucking secret service, that had done it. And, you know, you just, yeah, all right, mate, whatever. You're not having it. You know, I sat there watching it for fucking over and over again for fucking, I was just like that. Oh my God, when I got in from work, and I was just like that. Oh my God, what the fuck? And you're watching it play out on the TV, and it's and I was just glued to it. The news then just drew me in, and that was all I was interested in. And I got well into, like I said, I was buying all the big newspapers because you got more information about it and stuff. So yeah, my literature was war, hard man, prisons, and then I read a in the Mail. They advertised a book. I think it was the Mail anyway, called the Bible Code. So I read the book, and as far as I was concerned at that age, you know, a book was real life to a degree. You read the book, it's under that title. So like I said, I read the newspapers, watch the news. I think that everything is real life. So I'm pro-war, like a lot of mental patients of the asylum are, because they've been programmed to be pro-war with war their whole lives. But anyway, I read this book, the Bible Code, and it was written very well. So basically, I thought that was, fuck me, there's this code in the Bible, and basically it was written by a Jewish bloke who had discovered this mathematician had discovered this code in the Torah. So basically, if you took so many letters did this mathematical equation, it told you a story. So basically, in the Torah, it was written that in parts of this number code, the letter sequencing came out with Muhammad Atta will come from angle, you know, and it was a bit like Nostradamus-y sort of fucking, or predicting things around the world, like that shit would happen. And it was written, and I'm like, fucking hell. And I read the book, and it was basically saying that the world could end in 2006, or something massive was going to happen, and fucking all of this. So I've read the book, and at the time, like I said, I'm still a kid, really. I'm 20 years of age. You're not a proper man. You haven't even got a proper beard, so you're not a man. You're not fully grown. you're still learning and like a sponge for information. So I basically, I thought that was real. And the geezer fucknose who lives over in Australia was the geezer he was living with, him and his sister, renting a room. And the geezer turned round to me and he said, don't believe everything you fucking read. Like, you know, books can be written in a way that can convince you that things are real life when they ain't. And I've, you know, ultimately I'm thinking, well, in my head I thought, fuck me, I'm still not having it. I'm convinced that, you know, that there could be shit in this, because I was sort of like I said, fascinated with the pyramids on the TV programs, and the ancient myths and things like this, and in what made people religious, and was there any fucking, is there anything in it? Because I weren't buying the God bit. And so I was like, oh my fucking, well, that might happen. So I'm trying to get people to read the book, and no one wants to read the book. No one's even interested in what I'm saying. They, you know what I mean? Fuck that. That's, you know what I mean? But so that didn't happen. That didn't come to fruition. So that those events didn't happen. So that book was a load of complete and utter shit. Complete and utter garbage. But yet, if you read that book, if you were someone who went out and read that book, that was written in a way that could convince you that things are real. When you believe that books are real life, along with documentaries, along with all the stuff you're seeing. And again, I watched all the programs as a kid about aliens and the sightings, and with Nick Pope and all of them, and they were on every year. So you're watching these programs, and you know, you'll be, you know, there's films about. So as a kid, you know, I'm thinking there is aliens as well. Well, if you live in a giant spinning space ball world of infinite fucking however, with billions of galaxies, there would have to be aliens if that was the case. Or what they call aliens, which would be life forms on another spinning space ball somewhere, if it was the spinning space ball world of infinite fucking space-time continuum that's still being created with the ripple from the Big Bang bullshit waffle gunk. But yeah, you know, there would have to be other life forms on one of those spinning space balls, and that's what you're educated. You're shown that space travel is possible in the spinning space ball world, on the TV screens and in the news. So you're shown that, and as far as you're a child, so, and you're taught about aliens and all that shit. Again, they're the ones telling you it. At the same time as you get the programs with the government officials, you also then get other programs with complete wackos claiming they've been kidnapped by aliens, and you're just looking at, and they use complete wackos that are telling you the tales. So you're like, oh yeah, all right, mate, yeah, these are lunatics as well. So they do that at the same time, because the media is an expert in giving you two different fucking versions of the things to sway people one way or the other. So even though they might say, yeah, aliens are fucking could be real, but these people are complete wackos at the same time. So it's just they get you questioning the infinite and beyond from what you can actually see with your own eyes. So you are in imagination world, imagining the spinning spaceball world. Is there life? Because they get you contemplating this as a mental patient child being brought up in a mental asylum that's controlled by flashy screens and books and words on pieces of paper, and can be done so without ever witnessing anything with your actual own eyes, and doesn't take a lot to convince when it's shown to children. So, and then once the belief is in the head, then they can just show any imagery of it, and no one is even questioning whether that is factually correct. It's real life footage of that, or they've just made that how they make films, but without the production show it in grainier form like it's real life, and there's wobble, you know, and just make it look more like a fucking, it's not a fucking film. But what mental patients don't give the owners of the asylum credit for, so they claim that they can do everything with space travel, get the technology they have is able to beam signals billions of miles away, pick everything up, track everything, do everything like that. Yet they haven't got the technology or the know-how to just make some dodgy video footage and show it to babies and the world, who's then been programmed that the news is real life and everything in the media is real life, given to you by the people that are looking after you, which is what the owners of the asylum claim they do through the media and education system, but that isn't the reality at all. But anyway, so I've lost myself a little bit. Let me try to get back to what I was talking about, which is the conspiracy network, how I was programmed, and what influenced me through my life to get me up to a stage where, well, just how it all works, basically. Anyway, so I've read that book, and I then read, what did I read? I think I read a book called Chariots of the Gods, or it might have been Fingerprints of the Gods first. One of them, I read one of them books. This was before 2006, so it was before the, you know, that bullshit didn't come true, and I didn't fully believe it, but I just wanted, you know, trying to get people to look at the fucking look at the book and tell you what they think. But you can't, it's very hard to get that because of the different media outlets that people are exposed to from young age, and they're, you know, not everybody is interested in the same things in the asylum, which is how they create individuals who are individual mental patient. And the word, it's individual, an individual is how the word is pronounced, an individual. But anyway, an individual, every individual on earth, prisoner, mental patient, slave, is exposed to has different interests, and in the world of my generation compared to older ones, because obviously they didn't have the TV, so they read more. And obviously my generation, you got Sky TV, so there's millions, so less people read, and less people have the patience to sit there and read a book, and don't. So what you read, your friends, no one else really wants to read. Certainly where I was from, which is well, poor backgrounds that don't really read a lot of books. So it's hard to get to people to understand. So if you're a reader, it's hard to get people to look at what you're looking at. They'll watch a program, but they won't read a book. So it's hard to get anyone else to look at literature and read literature sometimes. Well, it certainly was a lot harder back in fucking when everyone I knew was 20, because 20 odd, 21, 22. It was 21 because my son hadn't even been born. 2021. Yeah, so I bought Fingerprints of the Gods, or the Chariots of the Gods, and basically yeah, I bought Chariots of the Gods, and Fingerprints of the Gods. I think I even read another one of the bloke who wrote Chariots of the Gods. I think he had another book that I read as well that I can't remember the name of it, to be honest with you. But I read that book as well, and I read them at the same time. And they're about the ancient structures around the world. One is claiming an alien link to all the pyramids and ancient structures and stories, and the other one is claiming a more advanced civilization that is much older, was much older than you're being taught, and those ancient structures around the world could definitely not have been built in the way you've been educated, and the way that the people, the governments around the world portray that those monuments around the world were built, and that they are much older. And basically his evidence was that because the pyramids were aligned to Orion's belt and they were now slightly off, this proved that they were from a much later date, and also proved the precession of the earth, which is to do with the wobble and the tilt of the earth. So basically what they've educated everyone is that the earth is a spinning ball that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Just quickly while I'm on this, so basically if every human being that owns or uses a washing machine, you know that the spin makes the water shoot out. And if you get a tennis ball, a football, anything, dip it in water, kick it, it spins and all the water flies off of it, yeah? But anyway, we're on a giant spinning ball that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour that sucks water in. Crazy, man. It's that gravity shit again that does everything. But anyway, it's able to suck all the oceans and everything down onto a fucking giant spinning ball without, you know, a single fucking... And lakes, giant lakes, without a ripple on the top while it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour would stop the water from flying off. And yeah, so anyway, apparently the Earth is spinning and it's on a fucking axis like this at an angle. So they've said it's at an angle because it couldn't be like that, because if it was dead straight it wouldn't explain the seasons. You wouldn't get the seasons, you wouldn't get the difference in light in the northern hemisphere, and how it works, what they call the northern hemisphere, and how the light changes. So they claim it's on a fucking angle like this, but they claim every so many thousand years it does a slight wobble like this. So basically that the pyramids and the fact that they were no longer perfectly aligned, they were this degree or so many little pieces off. Yeah, so basically you're just it's a little bit, so but that proved they were built at a much earlier date, and the precession of the Earth, it's also verifying that at the same time. But they're saying that, you know, how did these primitive people are able to align these things, monuments around the world, perfectly aligned to the stars, and that on certain dates they create illusions of light and all this. And they're saying they're built with, you know, precision engineering, that there's no way that they could be built, and they all match patterns, and the stories also are also connected. The other bloke is doing the same, so that's Graham Hancock. The other bloke, I can't remember if he might be Dutch, he could be German. He's on all the Ancient Alien programs. I can't remember his fucking name. I only read 2 of his books. And they started to go into what I thought was waffle a little bit. So, you know what I mean? It just sort of kept repeating, and it weren't telling you anything really new. It was just sort of going over it again. So there was nothing really that to keep reading. I don't know how many books he's even got. I read 2 anyway. But yeah, the Graham Hancock one, Fingerprints of the Gods. So when I bought that book, it was like a re-edition. So it'd been taken on the BBC. So I want to explain how the conspiracy network is advertised in the mainstream media. So basically, Graham Hancock had been written this book and was taken on, I can't remember the name of the program, but it's like a science program, and I think it's science or topical based program. It could be I think it's science based, but on the BBC, either it might have been BBC 2, I can't remember now. what the program anyway, the program it was on in that important. Basically, he was advertised on this science program about his claims, and they tried to rubbish him on it and everything. And basically, what he'd said, new scientific evidence was backing him up, and all of this sort of stuff. So there was like a little bit at the beginning of the book that explained that in the book when I bought it. It weren't its first release. It was the release after he'd been taken on a show, advertised everywhere regarding the book, and then new data was now coming available, and other people were backing up what he's saying. So yeah, and there was maps. Apparently there were these ancient maps, boats. So he was saying that there's this ancient civilized, super advanced, knowledgeable civilization that had knowledge of the stars and the galaxies and all of this shit, way more advanced than they could possibly have obtained. How did they know all of that if they were a primitive life form? Like, you're being educated, saying that evolution goes from that to that, when ultimately those buildings are proof that what you're being educated is a load of bollocks, basically, about evolution, and the timescales there's given you, and they're basically hiding the fact that these people were like super knowledgeable of the galaxy, the stars, and had building technologies and capabilities to be able to build things that they're incapable of building today. So he's basically rubbishing the entire history of the earth with those claims, and according to what you were educated. Now he claims he's not a conspiracy theorist or doesn't believe in conspiracies, while claiming that there is a massive conspiracy on the go to hide that information or keep it hidden from the general population. So he claims not to be, while being a complete conspiracy theorist, to complain that you've been educated something completely different, and they are deliberately shutting down ancient monuments to stop the scientific searches, and claiming that they were built only thousands of years ago using all these carbon dating technologies, and that, when it's impossible to have done that, and that the erosion on these things. And there's millions of programs then. That was before the internet. It was the start of like Sky, so obviously the channel, you had one history channel, one thing, but then they, as the years go on, the internet, and you get more and more fucking channels coming. There's hundreds of channels and thousands of the fucking things, you know what I mean, and millions of more programming outlets out there. So in basically, they get a whole population believing in with 4 channels can control, they control a whole thing to get a whole mentality. But then videos start to change all of that as well. But then nowadays you have millions of different fucking outlets, but the mobile phone is the main one, because it's literally just bombarding people with media propaganda 24 hours a day. But yeah, with the programming in, like I said, the more different programs and programming there are, the population has that many different beliefs of realities and versions of events to divide. So every time they try and have conversations, they can't really have they end up in arguments or disputes with everyone they know, because they've watched a different program with a different expert saying one thing, when you have other programs saying with other experts saying that. And you know, and it divides everyone's opinion down to everything, even down to one program that one person has watched, and they think that that is a reality. And they know that the population's attention spans are drawn to that much different medias, that not that many people go too deep into anything. So even the people that have gone too deep into things then can't have the conversation, because they're just so, they watch one half-hour or hour documentary and they think that is the reality over what you're telling them, even though you have a million times more wealth on the knowledge of those subjects. But they've just been programmed with that one thing, and they know that that's how they do it. So they limit everyone's ability to go into depth into any subject whatsoever on earth with anyone. So what they say is like intelligence becomes lonely, because you think that you, by obtaining vast, but your knowledge compared to you can't have conversations with anyone about it, because they've not looked at it and they don't understand it, so they don't know about it. So intelligence is basically well, it becomes lonely because the population, and like I said, is it intelligence? Just knowing loads of different information, it is a form of intelligence, but knowing loads of shit. But for the puzzle of the asylum, you need to know the shit to understand how the shit works in the world and how the world works. So at the same time, it was important to know all of that stuff. But yeah, intelligence and the knowledge and the programming, which is what people call intelligence. But you know, it's so easy to manipulate and cause arguments, manipulate the population to get them to constantly argue with everyone around them about what program they've watched. So that's basically what happens. So basically nearly everyone's arguments come down to media disputes. If it's not money, but on a vast amounts of things come down to media disputes on what different programs they've seen, or what information they can gain available. And now, just while I'm on, because I'm waffling now, I've gone off subject, with Google. So basically people just Google, and they think that just that first flash and the first thing that comes up on Google is fact and reality. And you can't get the program is so in deep into people that they think that what they've seen, their lifetime's programming, which is different to every other human being because of the availability of different channels, different outlets to show you different programming. Now you have a completely incoherent, jibber-jabbering world about what they think they know about. And there is literally billions of different avenues of media contamination that every single human being can be taken down. So that's how you create an asylum, by creating a vast belief system of gunk and nonsense controlled by the media, to create an incoherent society where even just you argue with the people, your mates and your family, over what programs you've watched and what other experts have their opinions that have been impregnated into your brain, because all you do is repeat what you have seen. So I read the books like everybody else. I'm no different to every other human being. So I read the book, I then repeat the book. I watch the programs, I repeat the programs. I'm a parrot, but I think that I'm very intelligent because I'm able to remember vast amounts of fucking information, and I am intelligent because I can do that, because a lot of people can't even remember a lot. Their memories are shocking. So just by being able to know more knowledge and all of that, yeah, so you've been exposed to different media outlets. It's very hard to get that through, and that's how they create incoherent things. But how I was programmed, how the books I was reading, yeah, so basically I've waffled way off subject then. I'm gonna have to watch this video back and see where we go on it, because again I'm trying to talk about the video that I made. That video I weren't even meant to fucking make about that. I was going to talk about something else that I'd been up in the night thinking about, and fucking I didn't even make that, and now I've just gone into waffle on this one. Right, so back to Graham Hancock. This lost civilization shit. Now he's not saying that he doesn't use the word aliens. What Graham Hancock does in his book is tell you that there is a lost time on Earth that had super knowledge of the stars, the galaxy, the solar system, how everything worked according to the education about the spinning spaceball world. But he doesn't use the word aliens. He doesn't say that they were created by aliens. He claims that they were created by humans, but a much more advanced type of human with knowledge of that and things like that. Like I said, and at the same time you have other people again using those same things with the pyramids, the stories, the things like that, and claiming that they could be built by aliens who were a much more advanced thing, and this is who the gods were around Earth are aliens. So they're there. So that's in 2000, around 2000 and 2001. I read them before my son was born. So again, I repeat all these books, but it's very hard to get things and to take any interest in what you're fucking talking about, because no one else wants to read the books and no one else is interested in that. They're interested in, my mates were interested in, I hung around with ravers and pissheads. So all they're interested in is going out and having a good time. And the tunes, man, the tunes. Anyway, so yeah, I read those books. Then I was into military. I was also into military books, military stories. Bravo 20. I read a book about I've already spoke about it. A bloke who was in Sierra Leone, who was ex-special forces, I think, or civilian or territorial special forces, something like that. I can't remember that, because I've read so many books and they're not that important parts of the thing, so it weren't that, But I read a load of stuff about the wars World War One, World War Two. I joined like a military. I fucking got conned into buying a fucking book club thing for fucking in the back of the fucking newspaper. There was these military books, and they fucking cunts kept sending them fucking through the door to me, and fucking I ended up fucking having debt kill. You know what I mean? The bailiffs being threatened to come round your house because you haven't paid. I just fuck that. I'm fucking stop sending me these books. I ain't paying you for them fucking things. So fuck this. This is bullshit. So I read shitloads of fucking these military books. The fucking shit that kept coming from my door, and then I cancel. You know, you just have these book club things that you fucking cunts are after you for fucking years, not paying their fuckers. Fuck off. Anyway, so I'm reading, watching documentaries. I'm a media controlled fucking thing. Now, I'm not, you know, I've yeah, this is where I want to go, because this was in the video. I want to get back to the video. So basically, I was trying to fucking compress this fucking video down into a smaller fucking version of it, and I'm an hour in, and I'm waffling. Anyway, my boy had been born, so it's around 2003, 2004. Maybe three. I'm working for a company called Cardinals in Greenford, who worked out at Greenford Depot. They were basically like the fucking they'd taken the contract over from the council, and they're like contractors, but they were the old council, out the old council building, and I was working at there at the time, and I pay all round Ealing. I paved Ealing, West Ealing Broadway. I did another fucking, I think it was Bollow Lane fucking train station, but that tube station. I did a load of work outside there for them. And I've got talking to a grab driver there, and I'm talking to him about Fingerprints of the Gods, and he started on about David Icke to me. Now I didn't know who David Icke was, and he's explained to me that he was a sports presenter and fucking on TV, and they reckoned he lost the plot, and they put him on the BBC with this book, and fucking, but everything he's saying is now starting to fucking come true and all this shit. And I've swapped him Fingerprints of the Gods for David Icke's The Biggest Secret, and I'm reading it and I'm going, well, fucking hell, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. There could be fucking truth in some of that and that and that. Well, that does actually fuck. And then it goes on to the fucking these lizards, these fucking shape-shifting lizards from the fucking lower fourth dimension and shit. And I'm like, nah, fuck that, fucking, what the fuck? But at the same time, that does also sort of back up part of the fucking ancient alien shit, regarding that German or Dutch or whatever fucking country, you know what I mean, he's on the ancient alien programs, who wrote Chariot of the Gods. So it sort of backs him up and backs Graham Hancock up at the same time. David Icke was also taken on the BBC and rubbished. And then, like with Graham Hancock, as the years go by, more evidence, more things are coming that are backing up everything he was saying. And same with David Icke. But they both they're getting a different, one will get a more higher fucking, it's more scientific, while the other one starts to ramble to more fucking, you start on about lizards and shit like that, they're being sent, both are being sent into mental illness. One's a little bit more, but they both serve a different purpose, and I'm going to get to how it all works and the purposes that it does serve. Now, basically, yeah, so I'm not having David Icke's bullshit, but at the same time, it's getting me thinking, well, fuck me, there was, you know, a lot of that sounds fucking credible. My life sort of tells me that. That's backing up Exodus as well from, you know, like the Freemason shit. So, I'm fucking, you know, it's in my consciousness, basically. At the time, I'm fucking working. I've got a fucking newborn baby. I'm fucking... So I'm fucking... It's just things I'm reading. I've got a lot on my plate. I've got a job. I'm fucking got a kid. You know, holidays, fucking doing all that shit. So fucking, you know, you're always busy. It's just another different load of fucking bollocks you're pumping in your fucking brain. You know what I mean? Either that, or it was, you know, well, sport, boxing. I only watched boxing. I didn't give a fuck about any other sport other than boxing. I was a boxing addict. I used to buy fucking Ringside magazine and all that shit. I'd watch everything. I watched all the fights. But yeah, other than that, I was interested in documentaries about history, wildlife, and science, and reading books in my spare time. But then when my kid was, this was before my kid was born, so a lot of reading, I didn't read as much when he was born because I was busy doing a lot of other stuff. So I sort of stopped reading to a degree then. And obviously then it's, you've just got fucking, like I said, you've got thoughts that go round in your head every now and then when you're sat there fucking doing nothing, or something else, you'll watch something else on the TV that starts to back your shit up that you've read about and that, so it draws your attention to it and then takes you back into thinking about those subjects again. Yeah, because you're busy doing a million different things. That's just one little bit. Like I said, I read lots of books, so you know, by that stage I'm not really sort of, I've forgotten about the Bible code thing a bit, you know what I mean? That's still in the back of my mind. Well, maybe, who knows? It was very, I still was believing everything I was reading, sort of, but I was, you know what I mean? Like I said, because I'm reading more now, I'm realising that there's loads of different fucking views on the same sort of fucking subject. So, it is open, you know, there's different versions of things regarding the same shit. And yeah, so then I saw a series on Sky One. So and it was basically this bloke rubbishing some of the bullshit and shit around the world regarding literature, beliefs, you know, like people doomsday mongering and fucking like a conspiracy sort of thing. So he basically, what he did was he rubbished the Bible code. And I remember watching it and thinking, oh, fuck it now, you know what I mean? Well, fuck that, that's bollocks, you know what I mean? But I guarantee it got some. I certainly read that book and went round to people saying, look, you know what I mean, this might happen, you know what I mean, fucking hell. And so you're repeating what you've read. So that would have, that, I'm guarantee I weren't the only person that read that fucking book. Like I said, it was advertised in the Mail, and like I said, at a young age, someone who's not read that much literature, who believes in the media still, a TV, and thinks that I'm intelligent because of the wealth of knowledge that I'm getting, basically. And yeah, so basically I'm watching it thinking, you fucking dickhead, and he rubbished it. He rubbished the program, rubbished that book, like ridiculously rubbished it, and made it look stupid. But then there was this program on the Illuminati, what he called the Illuminati, and showing you buildings. He showed this footage of all the presidents, old and new, all wearing these fucking like robes and shit, like as if they was doing some form of devil worship or some shit like that at a place called Bohemian Grove. So that was on Sky One, and at the end of the program, he more or less he didn't rubbish it. He didn't rubbish that at all. He didn't rubbish it. He was more or less saying that, well, it looks like it. And I think it had about the Bilderberg meeting and shit like that on there. So again, you know, it's at a stage and you're just busy. It's just another program that goes into your head. So you do start fucking looking at things like, whoa, what's going on in the world? But again, your attention will be drawn to something else. There's something else going on in your life. You know, you've got kids, you're going out. I'm still going out to not out all the time, but you know, you still want to go out. You're still going to raves, going to fucking boxing matches, concerts, and all that sort of shit. So, and on holidays and things like that. So, because you know, there was a lot of, you know, I had a lot of money in when my son was born. I was in a good job. They paid, you know, I'm earning good money. So, you know, over £1,000 a week at that stage back in the early 2000s. And that was that went a long way back then, you know what I mean? So, you know, going on holidays, going out, having cars, you know, having a lot of, you know, I had a decent life. It was comfortable on the money front, let's put it that way. And, yeah, so you're busy. I'm busy at work. I've got fucking loads to do. What is that going to happen? Who knows? I can't get anyone. You know what I mean? Who fucking ultimately, if it happens, what can I do about it? I'm not. You know what I mean? Fuck me. So you got to stop yourself even thinking about it. But it puts, you know, it's inducing fear into people. You read that book. It's written very well, and you know, fucking hell, fuck me. Is there anything in that? Because the way it was written was very believable. Especially to a fucking impressionable young person who, so yeah, so that's another program that was in another one in the mainstream media. Then you start seeing David Icke being talked about in the Sun, saying is this bloke's some of what he said is now coming true, and he's putting on these shows and shit everywhere, and you're looking at it, and you know, again, I'm not buying all that bullshit. So although a lot of it made sense and was factually correct because it fitted into my life, along with, and like I said, they all complement each other in little ways, one ways or another. So again, yeah, life gets it. You know, you've got a life to lead. You know what I mean? And that, you know, things go wrong. At that time, I was working for that Cardinals. I was on a very good good wages, and then they lost the contracts and the wages went down and it got shit, and fucking I went into tiling, and that was when I split up with my boy's mum at that time. That was when I found out she was having an affair, and she'd moved out, and yeah, I sold the house and well, got 70 grand, and you know that, and I've just split up with her, and so I've bought, you know, I'm spunking the money, fucking. I'm going to waffle off too much off a topic there. I'll go into that at another fucking thing. This is what I've got to stop doing. So, yeah, I thought it would be better by doing it this way, watching the fucking video, and then watching, and then trying to do this. It might be to do with the fact that I'm smoking fucking weed today, and it might be weed that's fucking my head up a bit more than hash. It's a possibility. It's another experiment. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to cut the video, I think. Oh, fuck it, I might just make it and fucking see how it fucking comes out. I feel like I've waffled way off topic on too many fucking things, and it's not a coherent video. So let me get back to it. It's only a case of watching it back and fucking charging another battery. I'm not overly fucked about fucking getting too many videos up, because it's starting to piss me off anyway. But anyway, let's see how we fucking go. Yeah, so let me try to get back to where I was. Yeah, so David, and so you see it, it's in the mainstream media. So the conspiracy theorists are being advertised in the mainstream media. To get people interested in them, and certainly start putting that into the consciousness of part of the population. Now, yeah, so I didn't, I stopped reading really in general. I was too busy in life trying to fucking juggle everything. I moved to New Zealand in that period of fucking time. Basically, well, I just might as well just fucking say it now. I basically got back with my boy's mum because I needed my boy around me, and basically that the reason I moved to New Zealand was because you know, that was the only way it could possibly be done without causing me as much embarrassment as was possible. Do you know what I mean? So fuck this. If I'm going to get back with that cunt, I need to fucking move away. It was just a way of just trying to get my boy back with me. Well, it was the only way I could have possibly done it. But yeah, so that was why I went to fucking New Zealand. Yeah, so I'm busy in life. Reading's not a fucking thing I did anymore. Well, I had a kid to bring up. Splitting up with the missus and that all the fucking time, and the shit with the kids. Then as a male, because you've been fucking done nothing in life but fucking get mashed your whole life, and that's all you do anyway. If you're not just sat at home occupying your mind with the media, you're out on a mad session somewhere getting off your fucking nut. So, you know, and money for someone who's all money is done. I lived a, you know, means that I can just get mashed more often than, you know, you should sometimes. So yeah, especially when you're living with one of your mates as well. So basically you just end up on mad sessions. So for years and years and years, I stopped reading. I didn't bother fucking reading anything more about any of them things. Then obviously then you get more channels and more channels and channels and channels. So on some channels it shows just the mainstream fucking views on the pyramids and all of this, and then on other channels you started getting ancient aliens and all of that coming on. So yeah, so I'm watching Ancient Aliens, and that's more or less backing up those nearly all three in ways of David Icke, Graham Hancock, and that other bloke who wrote Chariots of the Gods and shit like that. Now, then you have also UFO sightings, the alleged cover-ups regarding aliens by all the governments around the world, that backs them up as well. So there is shit that backs everything up in one way or another, but basically what they've done is that you've got two different types of people who only believe the mainstream shit, and then you have others that are believing in conspiracies, saying, you know, to say there's a alien cover-up is a conspiracy by the rulers of the world to hide that from the population of the world. So to claim that is a conspiracy. Also to claim that they're hiding the evidence of that the buildings around the world are a lot older, and that you're educated gunk, and that the tourist industry, the museums and all of this are teaching fake bullshit, is a conspiracy. So they are conspiracies. That's conspiracy fact. If both of those outlets is what's happened, and that's what the TV programs have been telling you for years. So, you know, news reports and things. So you've got to understand how they divide populations on who will believe what and who is to create an incoherent society, a nut house of individuals walking round jabbering about their own bullshit like they're more important than anyone else on earth, and that their knowledge, their programs that they've watched mean more about everything than anyone else's programs. Refuse to listen, refuse to look at the information you're trying to do, because there's billions and billions of different channels, different things now showing media to all of these different members of the mental asylum 24 hours a day now. But anyway, I'm telling you how I was programmed, how other people have been programmed, and how this programming works. So I'll smoke fucking 2 joints now. Yeah, so basically I feel like I need to smoke while I'm fucking talking. So those that's the programming I'm getting now. So I'm not reading anything. I've not read any more of anyone's books. I only read one of Graham Hancock's books. I didn't totally read the end of David Icke's book. I stopped reading it. And I'd read 2 of the other ones. These ones are little books though, so they're not that big in depth. They're little tiny reads compared to the Fingerprints of the God. At that time was a big read for me. And again, I've read a book, Killing Pablo, who wrote the bloke Mark Bowden, I think his name was. He wrote Black Hawk Down. I read both those books. It's quite a hard read actually. Killing Pablo. They've got a lot of letters, APB to BPD to the A to the three letter shit. Basically, what is it? Yeah, in that book I read then that when they were after Pablo Escobar, apparently they were able to track Pablo Escobar by turning his mobile phone on without him knowing about it from a plane flying overhead, and track their whereabouts and shit like this. And that was in fucking the 80s or early 90s they were able to do that, or something like that. I can't remember the date. Who cares? It was allegedly primitive technology compared to what they claim that they have today. So basically they were able to fly an aeroplane over and turn the mobile phone on as a tracking and listening device or some shit like that, it said. Can't remember how it was totally written, so but it doesn't matter. That they were able to do that apparently according to that book. So, and you're watching all the programs on how their technologies and of the world and what's going on, so that it backs up everything that you are being told regarding the programming that I was exposed to. Now then, so yeah, Graham Hancock's on Ancient Aliens. He's on the Ancient Aliens program without saying aliens. So yeah, I didn't read anymore. All I did was watch programs. So now I'm watching a load of programs and they're backing up the books I've read and some of the beliefs in my fucking head that I had. But again, you're busy in life, so you don't pay too much attention to it all and things like that. And another thing that happened was I was in the barrels, and I got talking to this woman, a blonde woman, and she was telling me again about 9/11, and there's a depopulation agenda and it's quite bad and all this shit, and I didn't fucking really, I weren't having it, and it was like she'd basically tried to tell people, tried to get people to look, and she'd she just said, yeah, look, watch that and make up your own mind, you know what I mean, like have a look at that and make up your own mind on it. And she wrote it down and gave me the piece of paper, and I didn't look actually, but she weren't an idiot. She had good points and stuff, and again, it's just another thing. So and more programs start coming on Sky, on these channels. The more and more channels that you get, and they're some are casting seeds of doubt over all the evidence that you've been told regarding 9/11, that there's a lot of people claiming that you know, it's bullshit, and that there's no way that took place. That was a terrorist attack. You have the fact that they've gone into Iraq. They're fucking not fucking. They have not found any nuclear weapons of mass destruction. They're warmongering. The media's now fucking claiming it's deliberate just by America and Great Britain to invade fucking Iraq. You fucking. Then you've got programs telling you it's all about the oil, the demi-dollar. You know, there's a lot of programs on these fucking on all the mainstream media programming networks, telling you about conspiracy. So they're everywhere on the mainstream media, big programs doing that and highlighting that shit to everyone and continually putting it in people's heads over years and years and years and years. A lot of that's before what people know is like now, where everyone just has a mobile phone that they're able to fucking just go on the internet all day every day and just look at shit. Before the availability of that, and everyone doing it. So basically, yeah, life's in the way. I'm getting that implanted in my head over and over again through my entire existence that, you know what I mean, we're governed by fucking a system, a secret organisation, that there's conspiracies everywhere regarding the information that you are being told by the rulers of the asylum. And that's all on the outlets that were put into place after the war and sold to the entire population of the world by those people. That all those programs and books and literature and everything are accusing of conspiracies, hiding the truth about your existence from the past regarding many different outlets. Space, regarding their alleged fucking coming into contact with aliens, and there's a conspiracy to hide all of that. So you're basically, your entire existence is up for debate according to what you're being told and educated by the rulers. And that is all over the TV and in the book markets that have been made available and that are given to, like I said, with all these you have millions of different people with now millions of billions of different mental illnesses. That's how you run the asylum, is the media, by contaminating every single different fucking patient or prisoner of that thing with a billion different programs that program everyone differently. So even then, when you get people that are all interested in one thing the same, the other things will get in the way and start to cause problems with the cohesion of anything that could be done to get around that. So they know by telling everyone how bad things are, there'll be no coherent fucking doing anything about that. So they don't care. And they also know that the vast amounts of the population who've been programmed a different way won't listen to a word or aren't interested, will never ever look at anything that you're trying to tell them about, so they won't be programmed by that information. So they know that, so that's why they can program one with vast amounts of what is, you know, factually based truth about conspiracies regarding things. But people, again, It's about people's knowledge and understand what you've been shown regarding those things, to get you to think about those things and to cast doubt onto other things, and how it all worked, which is to get people to now. So I just want to point out quickly that this is a fictional TV series for Netflix and all of that, and I'm El Capitan, the son of the creator, and you know, this is for Netflix, totally fictional shit, you know me. Anyway, so yeah, so that's what they do, that's how the media works. That's how to contaminate everyone in millions of different ways, so that no one can agree on everything. Everyone wants different things, likes different things, needs different things in their heads that they need. Can't cope with other things that everyone been exposed to a completely different prisoner life, exposed to billions of different images and stories and versions and whatever of make-believe worlds that live inside people's heads then while they're trapped in their cells, and develop into what people call beliefs in reality, which is just their mentally ill version of the billion different types of gobbledygook they've been shown that they are now piecing together and just blurting out their own mentally ill version of it all. And their take on reality and what life is all about. And because no one else agrees or even gets engaged in that deeper conversation, most people can't engage in any form of conversation about life. Most people's conversation about life involves their topical debate of what's on in the media, what pop songs they like, what programs they've watched, soap operas, talking about what's happening on the soap operas and TV programs. That's as in-depth conversation as you can get with a lot. Other people will just say, oh, I believe in my religion, you can't tell me anything about that. If you don't agree with me, then I'm not going to talk to you. So yeah, you disagree on a football team, you hate each other, you know, it's just I hate them because they support that football team, they're cunts, because they've just infected the entire world with complete fucking mental illness on every avenue. Even that I hate that person. Why? Because they're not what I am. I hate them. Which is racism, which every single fucking human being on earth suffers with, because nationalism would be classed as racism as well, if you want to look at it as that, hating people for fucking being something that you're not. Comes down to nationalism. So if you hate people for being Scottish, or you hate people for being English, or you hate people for being brown, or fucking having slanty eyes, or fucking, you know, eating a different type of food to you, you know what I mean? You're just a maniac, fucking mental patient, you know what I mean? Hating on everyone else because they're not a mental patient like you. And it's over the most ridiculous, stupid baby shit, but all controlled by the media and society, because everyone else around you is a complete fucking wacko as well. But anyway, yeah, so it got to fucking what happened was how I got onto the fucking, so over the years I've been programmed with fucking all those books, those programs, from a baby, from starting with the stuff about the aliens with Nick Pope on, you know, whatever channel it was. They were on every year, claiming with these sightings, using all the US every fucking year of my life, starting with the mainstream media, again using people from the mainstream media, highlighting the conspiracy theories to the world, and the fact that he's got books out. Over the years, like I said, they're telling you that, and even the events in the world start to back up what they're saying, and what they're claiming is new scientific evidence and shit like that. So they're given the publicity then made to do that. So then people start to listen to them and hang on to every word that they're saying, because they know that the mental patients can't think or do anything for themselves, or parrots, and they need people just to talk to them and tell them everything. Otherwise they don't know it, because they've been dumbed down to completely wacko levels that can only walk around repeating bullshit, or only literally care about themselves and the most ridiculous petty little fucking things in life, and throw tantrums when they don't get their own way. I'm no different. I've spent my whole life just throwing the most ridiculous fucking tantrums over everything, normally at myself, for doing stupid shit. But then you just blame it, and then it's not. The world does it, because I'm surrounded by fucking cunts everywhere that just do the most fucking ridiculous, stupid shit, and act like little fucking cunts. And I hated them my whole life as well, because they're cunts everywhere you go. You know what I mean? There's some cunt somewhere got to stop telling you some shit. You're not allowed to do that, or you've got to do this, or fuck it, you know, just being a cunt everywhere. The whole world's full of them. But anyway, never mind that. Conspiracy, I think I'm waffling off it. I keep wanting to fucking turn the video off, because I'm fucking keep waffling way off of the subject I'm trying to fucking get to and go on about. Conspiracy shit. Anyway, yeah, so I'm not fucking watching the fuck, because I'm trying to explain how it all works at the same time, and how it influences into your life as well. So it might make sense when I watch it back. Sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. Maybe I'm wasting another fucking 4 hours of my fucking time trying to make a fucking coherent video. Without, because I jump around a lot. So conspiracy theories have been implanted into my consciousness. That's what I was saying. Then what happened was that, oh fuck this video, I can't be bothered. It's doing me in now. Smoked way too much joints to be fucking talking bollocks.